Hi everyone, my name is Brittany and I am a Minnesota-based hand letterer. I specialize in wedding calligraphy and in chalkboarding, and this is my very first YouTube video. In this clip, I am going to show you a technique called faux calligraphy. Faux calligraphy is definitely how I got started writing calligraphy, and it is what many top calligraphers and instructors recommend for three main reasons. One is because you probably already have all of the tools that you'll need within arm's reach. Two is because it's easy. All you have to be able to do is write in cursive and make basic shapes. And three is because faux calligraphy will teach you the foundational basics that you need for many other calligraphy types. So if you would like to learn this technique and see a DIY place card project at the end, keep on watching. Okay, so let's get started. The two things that you need are paper and a pen. I am using a Pilot G2.7. I think that it's a great pen to learn with because it's super dark and opaque, but you can use any pen or pencil that you'd like. Alright, so to get started, we're just going to write a word or a letter, something short and easy. Let's start with the word hi. So let's pick up the pen and then we're going to write out the word hi in cursive. When I do this, I like to make sure that I have some space in between my letters, so I make the word a little bit wider than I normally would, and you'll see why. After we have that written out, take your pen up off the paper and then we're going to trace over the word in the air a few times. So here we're really focusing on where we're making our downstrokes and where we're making our upstrokes. Downstrokes are when you pull the pen toward you, like the straight part of the H, and then upstrokes are where you're pushing the pen away from you, like in this connection to the eye. So do this a little bit until you feel pretty comfortable doing it. Let's do some arrows to show exactly what I'm talking about. So in this case, blue is going to represent the upstrokes and red is going to represent the downstrokes. So in the word hi, we have three major upstrokes. And then we have the straight part of the H, the bottom curve of the H, and the bottom curve of the I. So really pay attention to where those three downstrokes are. When you have horizontal strokes like this tail on the end of the I or a crossbar on the letter T, you can consider those an upstroke as well. We're not going to touch it. Okay, let's rewrite the word hi so that we have a clean version to work with when we're doing the faux calligraphy. Again, making sure to write it a little bit wider than you typically would. Now, to do the faux calligraphy effect, this is pretty easy. We're going to primarily pay attention to the downstrokes. And what you're going to do is draw a vertical slice right next to the part of the word, or the part of the letter that's the downstroke. So you're going to draw a little shape that looks like it is just a slice taken right out of the word, thickening that up. Just like that. The next part is even easier. Just color it in. And there you have it. The word hi written in calligraphy. Let's try this again with another word. This time I'm writing the word YouTube. Again, I'm making my letters a little bit wider than I normally would and writing it to be a little bit thicker than I normally would to give space for the faux calligraphy effect. Then I'm going to go in and do the exact same thing, making vertical slices or vertical shapes mimicking the curves and flow of the letters just thickening that up right along each letter. Again, I'm only focusing on where the strokes go down. If you need to take a minute and pick your pen up off the paper between each letter to figure out exactly where those strokes go, that is totally okay. The longer you do this, the more intuitive it will become. And then once again, just color it in. G2 can be a little bit smudgy at times if you don't let it dry completely. But one thing that I like to do if I have these tails hanging off the end of letters is add tiny teardrop shapes to mimic what the flow of the ink would look like coming out of a dip pen. I also do this on the crossbars of a T. One more example where I'm going to show you a variation before we jump into a project. And this is the word Minnesota, of course, because it is my favorite state. And then I'm going back in and thickening up those downstrokes. Now some of these letters, I think M's, N's, and S's, are pretty tricky, so take your time here if you need to. One thing that you're probably noticing is that I am switching off the direction of which side I'm making the slices on, depending on where I have room. This isn't about shadows, it's about downstrokes, so it doesn't matter which side you choose. I would just do whichever side leaves more room and makes it easier for you. And for this variation, we are done. We are going to not color and fill it in this time because it gives a really modern look. This is, of course, your choice. So now let's put it together and do some DIY place cards. Let's put this all together now and do some place cards that you can use for your next event. A lot of people have place cards for weddings or for dinner parties or whatnot, and this is a really great way to add a personal touch. I'm using black cardstock and a gold Sharpie pen. This is in the extra fine tip, which I definitely recommend for detailed work like this. So there's two variations that I'm going to show you, and the first one we're going to start out by writing the first name of the person whose place it is. I have a pretty unique and specific aesthetic with my place cards that I do for clients, and that is what I'm going to show you today. Then we're just going to go in and add the slices next to each downstroke to thicken up the letters exactly like we did in practice. When you're working on projects, make sure that you round out the sharp edges where they shouldn't be. And then, of course, color it in. This is part of my personal style, but in order to know which Harry this place card is for, I am writing the last name underneath in standard print block letters. Let's put him at table 11. And let's say that he's a vegetarian at this event. And there you have it, a DIY place card using Faux Calligraphy. Now let's do a variation. This time I'm going to write his last name in faux calligraphy first. So let's start out the exact same way, making the letters, again, a little bit wider space than you normally would to allow room for the faux calligraphy. And go back in and make your slices. I'm sorry about that, I had to take a phone call. I went ahead and finished up making the slices for the last name Potter. Now, there could be several Potters at a wedding, so let's write the word Harry above so that we know exactly which Potter we're talking about. And again, let's put him at table 11. And this time, let's say Harry's going to eat the chicken. So there we go. 2 place cards using this technique and standard writing only that both look very unique and provide a more classic place card touch and a much more modern style. I hope that you like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already for more calligraphy and hand lettering videos. I post 3 types of videos on this channel: Hand Lettering 101, vlogs about getting into the wedding business, and planner videos. Thanks so much!